everybody. It's Tuesday morning here in California, and we love it.
Tuesday afternoon on the east.
Yeah.
On the east. Hey, Eric, what's up?
We just look forward to
Brenda, is it raining in Las Vegas? I mean, how did you get on the call? Is it snowing? Is there a TFR?
No, it's beautifully sunny and no wind, and probably going to be, well, it says 51 on my desk right now. So
Perfect. Yeah, we're just not used to seeing you. It's great to have you. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you.
we have two Jennifers in here. Yeah.
What's up, Michelle? Good to have you.
Don't worry about me. I just have my parka behind my desk.
That's right. I
Just in
hear
case.
you. Is your wall pink and your parka pink? Hi, Karen.
Oh,
Hi,
great.
Sarah. Hi, Jennifer.
So,
Drove
so
you to
good.
live. That's Towns, right?
Yes. Although that's Jennifer right there, but
I know, but I mean, I'm not
yes, OG.
that logo in the back, but I recognize it as Towns. Good morning, Karen.
Yes.
Hi, Donna. Hi, Rebecca. Good
Reggie.
to have you back,
Good morning.
Rebecca. Reggie, what's up? Hey, Mary Louise.
Nice. Don't
I call her Mary Louise.
Yes.
Yeah, Roman too. I haven't seen him in a while.
So good to see everybody. This is exciting. It's a
Kyle
good
just
day.
said, when we Desi said, oh, it's 9 o'clock, time to rock. And he's like, wow, look at all the people in the waiting room. It's like, yeah, we don't mess around. This call is amazing.
Yes.
It's just great because you just learn so many. I don't know about you guys, but I have never personally heard of drone soccer.
We're going to hear about it today. It's so awesome. I'm excited. So before I go into that though, because I know I can get excited and jump ahead a bit, I do have a few things that I wanted to mention. First of all, Eric, everybody knows Eric, right? Eric Hanksome. He is our traveler, and he posted some really amazing photos. If you're not a Women in Drones member, you need to be. He's posted a bunch of his photos, and you can imagine they're awesome. Eric, nice job. Great.
Well, thank you. Thank you too to Kay, who took the time to explain to me why I kept trying to post stuff and I kept getting them rejected. And she mentioned something about the size of the submissions. I said, okay, I think I can fix this. So anyway, took me a few tries, but I finally got it right.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, he posted several in there, and so definitely want to check that out. Matter of fact, I will go ahead and put a link to the Women in Drones website, but once you're a member, then you'll go into your profile, and then you go into your My Feed, and then you can find all his great stuff in there. Another really quick thing.
Thanks, Desi.
Yay, I'm on it today.
Yes, you are.
Another thing that I wanted to put in there is you may have seen that there is let's let Parker in. Hold on. A webinar coming up today that is going to be awesome. Do you remember? Well, we always want to thank Jim because he's here almost every week. He's always been here for us. But Jim Bonnerdale and Jess, remember Jess? She was here doing the Nexi. They have a webinar today that is going to be super cool. And so I'm going to put that in there as well. So let me make a copy of that. Look at, we still have several people jumping in here. I don't want anybody to miss this wonderful presentation today, right? So we want to make sure we give them time. So
raise a hand. How many of you are, or a thumb up, how many of you are familiar with drone soccer? I am not. Anybody else? Yes, we got a couple.
Probin's
A couple, of course, Sharon is. Who else? Probin? Yes? No?
Probin said he did, yes.
So, yep, Renee. Hi, Renee. Yep, Marie. Okay, so how about you, Teresa? Yep. Okay, so I would say probably maybe 50-50.
Yes.
Heard of elephant soccer?
Yeah.
What? Of course you have. Of course you have, Eric.
All right.
In Thailand.
Yes, that sounds
Elephant
like something
soccer
in
is a
Thailand.
tourist attraction in Thailand.
Yep, sounds like it.
All right. Well, with that, let's segue over to our spotlight speaker. We have Kyle Sanders here, and he is going to share with us about drone soccer. It's amazing, and I'm super excited. So I'm going to make you a spotlight for everyone. Kyle, thank you for joining us. We're super excited.
Hey, thanks, Desi. Thanks for having me. Thanks to Sharon and everybody else. It's been really great speaking with this community in particular as we are trying to launch a national youth drone organization, and our big focus is rolling this out in a way that is equitable and that is accessible to all students, with an emphasis on communities historically excluded from aviation and women. And so making this clear from the beginning that this is a co-ed activity, that teams will be co-ed. And how do we do that? If you see robotics and drones in general, it is oftentimes, the same types of students who make up those programs, and we're trying to break that and to do that from the beginning. So the last few months, we've thoughtfully, or at least attempted to be thoughtful, been meeting with the National Engagement Strategy Group with representatives from Women in Drones, from the Diversity Network of Canada, from the FAA, from the AOPA, from the Academy of Modern Aeronautics, and our different community partners to include university pre-collegiate programs to the Boys and Girls Club. So we've really been trying to understand how do we, one, create a safe space for students, and two, to introduce this activity in a way that it is accessible to all communities. Obviously, we all know that aviation and STEM is not necessarily equal access in most communities here, that the well-funded schools get the cool robotics programs and the aviation programs, and other schools don't have access to that. So it's a big part of our mission, and like to take a step back maybe, and Desi, should I show that video? Kind of explains what drone soccer is in the first place.
I think that's the big question of the day. Everybody's excited to hear about it. Yes.
Okay, so we had a launch video come out 2 weeks ago, and we think it really does a good job of showing what this activity and program is, and hopefully we'll answer some of your questions, because it's something that needs to be seen rather than described. So I can share this here. It's about a 2-minute video. Welcome to Drone Soccer, an exciting new educational esport. We're launching a national program to engage thousands of students with the thrill of flight and head-to-head competition. Right now, the aviation industry is facing critical shortages in aircraft production, mechanics, engineers, and pilots. We want to make high-paying aerospace careers accessible to all students. Drone soccer is a full-contact team sport played with flying quadcopter drones. It was first invented in South Korea and is now an official international sport of the World Air Sports Federation. Drone soccer is played inside a netted arena for safe, dynamic gameplay that fits inside any school.
It's just a great introductory program to get involved with aviation as a whole.
We're working hard to build a national youth sports program that immerses students in aviation. But before all of this, we had to design a professional-grade drone that was suitable for World Cup play and the needs of the modern engineering classroom. It had to be affordable, durable, and completely repairable. We spent a year play testing with teachers and students to get it right.
We've been doing drones for about 4 years and struggling to understand what ties it all together, and US Drone Soccer just delivered it in one perfect little neat classroom package for us.
This is the Saker DS200 drone soccer ball. Made with high-performance drone racing hardware by leading manufacturer iFlight RC. A carbon fiber chassis, injection molded cage, and no need for soldering.
We've also sourced market-leading products from remote controls, tools, batteries, chargers, everything needed to get started in the sport. Your donations will help us fund school programs, national tournaments, and even the U.S. drone soccer team for international play.
I think this sport's going to take off very quickly because we just last summer we had barely anything, and now we're up here doing all these events and showcases, and then we're going to have nationals in May, and I think it's just going to skyrocket.
Help us bring robotics competitions into the space age.
Sign me up. That was so fun.
Wow.
I want to be a coach.
I do too.
Yeah.
Isn't that
It's-
amazing?
We need coaches, we need mentors, we need drone experts. You know, the backstory. So I was in the Air Force as an instructor
Want a
pilot.
part of that.
David Roberts, you know, our president and my co-founder, he took the U.S. drone racing team to the World Championships in 2018 and 2019, and very involved in drone racing internationally. And that's where they showed him, hey, you know, we approved the World Air Sports Federation, FAI. They approved drone racing as an internationally sanctioned aerial sport. And they also approved drone soccer at the same time. And nobody had seen it because South Korea was the only country playing it, but they have thousands of teams playing this game. And so David was asked, you know, is this something we could bring to North America? And so he kind of formed a team to try to figure out how to do that. My background is aerospace education. I have a master's in education, and I was instructor pilot at the Air Force Academy. So this is something I'm very passionate about. And I saw the application in education of what this sport could mean for particularly middle and high school students. And so that really was a big decision early on about what we were trying to create. And we think that the ability of this sport to bring in students, to bring in families, and put them on a career path, that I think is super valuable. You know, I worked with the Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum, running their flight training and student and teacher programs. And most programs in this country in aviation don't begin until 16 years old or later. You know, most of them live at the community college or university level, and that just puts it out of reach of most students who are interested but just don't know a path. And if we can engage students as young as 12 to show them what's out there for them, then by the time they do enter high school, they know to sign up for these career and technical education courses, to sign up for flight training scholarships and things like that. So we're trying to open the pipeline to younger students to help meet this need that we see out there. You know, the pilot shortage is nothing new. It's my entire career in the Air Force, there's been a pilot shortage, and it'll just get worse. But technicians, mechanics, it's really hitting the entire aviation industry right now. And as all these drone companies are trying to scale advanced air mobility, where are these people going to come from? You know, that workforce doesn't exist right now. And, you know, my answer is that workforce, they're in high school. And if we don't engage them right now, then 2 years from now, these companies that want to deploy, you know, last mile drone deliveries, there's going to be nobody to fly it. So that's a little bit of our mission and what we're trying to do. I do think it's exciting. It's taken a long time to get to this point that it is a comprehensive educational tool and training pipeline. And just 2 weeks ago, we announced, hey, we think it's ready. And we had 70 organizations sign up over the past 2 weeks, representing universities,
Nice.
it's statewide nonprofit networks, school districts, museums, community colleges. I mean, you name it. Everybody's been signing up, so we've been really slammed with demand, which is great. So now our challenge is to build partnerships and relationships to meet that demand. You know, I guess it's a good kind of surprised, but you know, the people do see the value and do see that. So we're hoping to find both companies, nonprofits, individuals who either have connections to resources to help these underserved school districts access this, Again, not every district can get it funded that easily. So that's one big need that we have, connecting schools and nonprofits to funding opportunities for diversity in STEM and just aviation education as a whole. We also need partnerships in organizations that can help with training teachers. You know, accessibility is for the students, but it's also for teachers, math, science, English teachers who want to do drone education at their school. They need help because it's not easy to get started. And so as we're building our league nationally, what that really means is we're creating a nationwide network of drone instructors who are willing to help schools and families adopt. And then moving on, you know, we have some pretty exciting opportunities to compete, to participate, and even all the way up to the world stage. We'll be demonstrating drone soccer at the World Games, which is the baby brother of the Olympics. It's sanctioned or recognized by the International Olympic Committee of all the sports that were not selected for the Summer or Winter Games. So this is where future host nations come to see all the sports that they could choose to be in the next Olympics. We're working with the World Air Sports Federation to debut drone sports. Drone racing will be an official event of the World Games this summer, hosted at Birmingham, Alabama. So we will be producing that drone race with 32 international drone pilots. And we will also be showing drone soccer, where we're bringing in youth teams to do a demonstration, you know, during opening ceremonies and kind of over the course of the week. So that's a little bit of what's happening.
Amazing.
To sum it up, I think that drone soccer is a unique combination of aerospace education, you know, career skills training, and esports. And what's interesting is that, you know, a lot of parents are hesitant to maybe buy their kids drones if it's a toy, or is it a hobby they're really going to get into? It's kind of expensive. But by framing this around team sports, it helps parents understand the value, because they're getting the teamwork, communication, and, you know, leadership experience of a sport, but they're in this, you know, coach, mentor, team environment, and they're learning skills that they can, you know, hit 16 and make $50 an hour flying drones. So it's this sport for families that has a built-in career path and opportunities. So I'm looking forward to answering all your questions today, and thanks for having me.
And we do have several questions that have popped up, and so we will address those. I know a lot of them have been around the resources and how they can get involved. And I told you in our off screen that the people here are amazing, and they are definitely going to be reaching out, because I know they all have a big heart. Before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about the whole process? Because is it the setting up the nets? Is it what part of the academic side do the students actually go through? Tell us a little bit about the drone setup and all that.
Yeah, so I'd like to start top down, because a lot of times people ask, how do I bring this into my community? You know, it doesn't exist yet in their city, and they want to see it in their city. Like any activity, you really need three things, right? You need the place to play the game. You need the leadership and kind of administrative support to kind of pull that league together. And then you need the funding to support that initial, you know, installation. So if you can find a building, some people who are willing to get trained and certified to help run the program, and some funding to get it off the ground, we can kickstart a league. We got started in Denver about a year ago. We put in the first arena at Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. We trained a cadre of, you know, 4 or 5 drone instructors, and through a handful of public demonstrations and some summer camps, we now have well over a dozen programs enrolled, all ready to participate in the state tournament this end of April 30th. So it kicks off very quickly, and that total investment for the arena, the training, and enough drones to do demos, like 2 full teams worth, is about $20,000 for that total package. And that's the nice arena that you saw in the video. It's custom made for the sport. Everything in the video except the floor, that one was we put in extra, but so about $20,000 total investment. We've had great support from philanthropic foundations, from STEM foundations, from the city itself, from districts, universities to find that funding somehow. And once you have a place for it, then every school in that community can begin enrolling. Most of the schools are funded through career and technical education, CTE. That's like more than $1 billion in federal funding for skills training. And it filters through the community college system in most states. In Colorado and a lot of states, those funds are matched at the state level. So Colorado Technical Act matches those federal funds. So there's a lot of money out there that schools can access if they have a CTE teachers or a CTE program. So that district CTE director is the best person typically to talk to. Purchases for schools range from $6,000 to kind of get them started. The average order size is $12,000, which for reference, traditional robotics teams cost $25,000 a year sometimes. So we're trying to be, a much more affordable program than other types of robotics that they're doing. And our drones are reusable and completely, they can disassemble, reassemble everything. So the long-term costs are a lot lower. And so our hope is that, for $12,000 to get started in a district with low ongoing costs, that we can engage a lot of students. We do have some districts that are buying enough for 6 whole middle schools to jump in together, like a $30,000 order. It just shows the kind of interest for a program like this. So that's, from the bringing in the arena for the league and the tournaments and everything to run camps, and then to the school level, and then down to the individual level. If there's an arena nearby and you want to sign up your student, your kid wants to play, the total package for everything, including the drone, the radio, batteries, chargers, like everything they need to actually play the game, is right now $550 is that total participation cost, which, my daughter's 7, her name's Amelia. She's, my little aviator in training. She signing her up for community soccer down at the park cost about $500. So we're trying to match traditional athletics so that a parent is looking at this the same way they would look at signing their student up for band after school or signing them up for the baseball team. We're trying to make that argument for parents that this is a valuable opportunity. So hope that answers a little bit of kind of the levels that we're bringing people in at.
So there were obviously several questions popping up. I don't even know if I can keep up with them all, right? Can you tell us?
A lot of I'm in.
Yes.
Of I'm in.
There
What
is
is it going to take? Get me in, right?
Oh, wow. Sign me up. Can you tell us a little bit about finding teams? Linda Quackenboss had asked about that. Where do we actually find teams that are existing now?
Yeah, so this is brand new. Colorado has existing programs because we've been testing here for a year. Our pre-market testing and feedback and everything that was happening with several Title I school districts and community programs for underserved students, so we can understand all the barriers. So now we have committed leagues statewide in Colorado, New York, and Ohio. We're signing an agreement for Delaware. And let's see, other service areas that I know we have a lot of interest in. A couple organizations in Detroit, a few in Chicago, another one in Indianapolis. Let's see, we have partners in Canada, in Edmonton. We have obviously partners in Nigeria. There are existing drone soccer programs in France and Germany. So we're really hoping to identify organizations that want to bring this in. That the map of where this will be in just a few months keeps growing and growing. The reality is it probably doesn't exist in your area, and we want you to help bring it in. Have those conversations with the school district, if there's a museum, if there's a university in town, and find out who is as excited as we are.
As far as like the, as like you mentioned, like the $20,000 level, you said something about you guys, like, if there's already a location, you guys, is that included to come in and set it up the way that it should be set up, or how does that work?
Yeah, so that amount includes like a 2-day training for all of your staff and instructors to understand how to build the drones, program them, how to run events and camps, how to set up the arena, and we have ongoing support. So at any point, you're like, hey, we can't figure out this thing. We have certified drone people that you can talk to and get those answers. That we have that train the trainer mentality that you go through that training with your drone instructors, and once they are confident, you would be that first line of support for those teachers in your community, that they can come to you. And if you can't answer the question, we'll get you help. But we're trying to grow this network of support, because I think that's what is missing in drones as an industry. Especially as a hobby. If you're talking about recreational flying, there just really isn't a place to take your kid to learn the basics and have that mentorship, and even know what to buy in the first place. It's such a crazy market. People have no idea, like, where do I even start? So this is trying to create that supportive community as we grow. I think that's super important.
There definitely is a gap. I totally agree, because I have a drone school, and I get a lot of, I have 11-year-olds, I have 10-year-olds, and I also have, kids that are 17, 18, 19 that are autistic. They can absolutely fly a drone. They just require supervision. So that's what I love about it, because I see these parents, like, literally when their kids fly a drone, Kyle, they're crying. They're like so excited that their kids are able to do something that's so pioneering. So but yet I can't, and they can't be with their kids all the time, and there's no group effort. So this, filling in those gaps, this is definitely one of those bridge the gap opportunities in drones, which is awesome.
Yeah. And creating a future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really building a future. It's amazing. It is amazing. We have so many questions pouring in. So,
a lot of this, our place needs this. Our place needs this.
You're right. So I think you already kind of briefly talked about, the certification, and once you get set up, that includes the training and all that. A couple questions as far as the league. Can you describe the league? How many are on a league, and how the league actually works?
Yeah, so we're working with the team behind the Youth Drone Sports Championships. They run most of the major racing events virtually for multi-GP and other big races, and they've been developing a league management software with us for the last year to kind of meet the needs. So we're about to begin enrolling all of our coaches and teams into that. So the idea is, well, let's talk long-term. Long-term, the idea is that this is an after-school, an in-classroom enrichment program for STEM, science classrooms, engineering classrooms, and an after-school competitive club that your team can compete after school as well. And those after-school teams eventually will be having a season of matches just like every other sport, where they'll compete in 10 games to get their season rankings going into the championship. Right now, as we're getting traction in different communities, like here in Colorado, we now have enough programs enrolled that we're doing friendly scrimmages and kind of matches and things between different schools to get ready. Right now, we're going to do a state championship and national championship in April. Those will be in Denver, Colorado. And so we have right now a Colorado and New York tournament planned in the spring. That April 30th national tournament in Denver is open to out-of-state programs. We have a few that are interested in traveling for that. Over the summer, we have all of our summer camp programs that are all competing. There is an end of summer tournament that is a part of the Rocky Mountain State Games. That's the Olympics of Colorado. That's hosted in Colorado Springs next to the Air Force Academy and the Olympic headquarters. So anybody who wants to travel and compete at the state games will be able to. But then once we get into the fall, we're going to start seeing in Colorado, New York, and Ohio at least more regular events leading up to that end of semester tournament. So we're looking at 3 seasons, fall, spring, and summer for our different programs. And the league is basically, when we bring this into a city, we want at least, 4 programs so that they have other teams to go compete against. But it is possible to run this as an in-house league. One of our middle schools in Denver, they bought the program for 4 complete teams, and they're running their own internal tournaments for their middle schoolers.
So many options, so much potential. It's just amazing. And I just know everybody sitting on this call today is just exploding with ideas and just going, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Matter of fact, Johnny, he actually said, all right, I see a league, San Diego versus Las Vegas. Bring it on, right?
Yeah, we do have interest in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So when somebody's thinking in terms of setting up the net in the whole facility, can you tell us a little bit more about what's involved with it? How much space should we be thinking of? Linda had asked about, is it portable or should it be in one spot type of thing? Can you tell us a little more?
Yeah, and Johnny had a similar question. So I'll just go over the kind of the specs, right? So the arena itself, and these are official international sizes. Everything we're doing is World Cup compliant. You will see internationally, there's a bigger size, 40 centimeters. That's what a lot of the South Korean programs are using, but it requires a gigantic playing area. So we are using this smaller 20 centimeter size, which is the second class, the smaller category of the World Air Sports Federation. So the arena is 10 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and 20 feet long. The teams stand outside of the nets on either end zone, and there are 5 players per team, active players. The roster on an official, tournament or event is up to 10 total players. Each active player can have 2 drones each with a cap of 10 drones per team. So a big part of the sport is fixing and repairing them in between each flight period. So they can bring up to 10 drones total. That's why we sell these in groups of 6. So they have 5 drones and an alternate to play the game with. When you're getting started, or if you're doing practices, 3-on-3 is fine. You can play smaller games, but 5-on-5 is really dynamic with a lot of good defense. When you play 3-on-3, they just score a million goals because defense is hard. So to bring in the program, the arena itself, I think it stands about 11 feet tall. So you do need about a 12-foot ceiling. And then it has an optional banner that goes up top. So 12 to 15-foot ceilings for an interior space. And you need about a 10-foot standing area around the outside. So we recommend a floor space of minimum 30 by 40 feet with 12 to 15-foot ceilings. If you have that, we've seen it go into high school gymnasiums, into aircraft hangars, just community center atriums. You can put it in a lot of places if they have a little bit of space. As far as your referees and your instructors, I recommend 4. You need 2 goal judges who are watching each goal. There's usually a central referee that's looking for penalties. And then you need somebody to manage the battery charging area. Obviously, they go through a ton of batteries, a ton. It's 4 batteries per drone per team. So 20 batteries per team, 40 batteries per game. And so we have these great quad chargers from Toolkit RC. You can charge 4 batteries a pop. So you have basically a bank of these at the charging station. So the team that is on deck goes and gets charged. And then when it's their time to play, they're ready to go. Each match is 3 3-minute sets. So 9 total minutes of flying with 3 to 5 minute repair period in between. And with the time to put the drones in and out, it's 30 minutes per match. So every 30 minutes, you can be having a new match take place. The students have to have everything ready to go, ready to fly on the referee table. And when the match starts, you put them in, the referees plug the batteries in, referees get out, and then the 3-minute playing period starts. So it is, I mean, these kids are like a Formula One team. They're working hard the entire time. Every kid has jobs to do. They're all like supporting each other, and some are building, some are reprogramming, some are, you know, talking strategy. It's really exciting to see how hard they work. So I do recommend, you know, team of 4 to run events, and good skills to have. Obviously a Part 107 is important because we are technically doing drone training for hire. So just for legal sake, to make sure that you have somebody who's 107 trained involved with your program. I recommend having, you know, a STEM educator, somebody that understands, you know, the limitations of the kids and how to differentiate instruction. Then the third skill set that's nice to have is some FPV experience. These are racing drone technology. They're open source. So if you've used Betaflight before, that's what we're using. But it does take a little bit more specialized knowledge than flying a DJI, understanding how to troubleshoot, how to reprogram it. So having somebody with a little FPV experience really helps.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the actual build of the drone?
Yeah, so it comes in parts. This is the drone itself, which you guys saw in the video. Basically, we have a kit. This is one that I was doing for a training video. It is a flight controller. We've worked with iFlight to do plug and play motor connections, so there's no soldering required to put this together. Every component can be removed or replaced with a single 1.5 millimeter driver. So we tried to basically, with a single tool or 2 tools, I guess, with this and a pair of snippers, you can disassemble and reassemble this drone. You know, we were trying to think of something that's quickly and easily repairable. And so the exoskeleton here is actually connected by zip ties. So if they break a frame in the middle of a match and they have just a few minutes to fix it, they just snip the zip ties, put a new cage on, zip it back on, and they're back in the game. We tried to find a balance in durability and impact absorption, because these actually have to flex a little bit to take some of the impact. So primarily you're either breaking propeller blades off or, you know, the cage maybe sometimes will break. So in between, you know, they're going in and just putting on new propellers, troubleshooting, recalibrating the accelerometers, you know, all these little things to make sure it's flying the way they want. But yeah, assembly takes a motivated student 45 minutes was our record at summer camp, from start to finish. It comes, let's see.
He being motivated, right?
He is motivated. Unmotivated students, it's like 2 hours. But it comes in a kit, just like this. It's disassembled, right? You have all your separate components, your separate motors, and we have instructions to build it. We do sell, if you guys go on the website, some assembled demo kits or instructor kits. That way, you know, the teacher has an example to show everybody. So I recommend, you know, a lot of people want to show this to teachers and show it to people first. Those demo kits are a great way to have something in your hand that's ready to fly. All you have to do is put the cage on. That's not too hard. And then that way you can show people what this is. But when they see the kids disassembling, reassembling, that's really where they're like, wow, they're working hard. And also this is open source. So we have schools and programs that are already custom manufacturing their own upgrades and modifications, doing their own custom builds. That's all allowed within the rule sets. There's basically a maximum diameter, weight, a couple other parameters that they have to meet. But we feel that this is pretty confidently a World Cup competition drone that they can then modify however they like.
Awesome, awesome. So Sharon Rossmark is here with us on the call today. Hi Sharon, you had some things that you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, so first of all, Kyle, thanks for coming on. And it's been a while since we chatted, but I got to tell everyone, I can't tell you, as you all are impressed now, when Kyle and I first connected, I want to say it was last summer, Kyle, And he was still pulling this all together. I said to him then, I said, you're onto something and I can't wait to see this come about. But Kyle, what I wanted to follow up on was a brief conversation you and I had, because I mentioned to you that I had previously served on the board of Special Olympics Illinois.
Mhm.
And we talked about the accessibility and adaptability potential of this game. Do you envision one day that this could be something that could become a sport within the Special Olympics? Because that community generally takes traditional sports and modifies them. And I just see this would be a great way to engage that Special Olympics committee,
Yeah.
community. Do you see this as something that may be possible?
Yeah, I was trying to find my, here it is. Yeah, so I do, right now, it isn't like most drones in recreation, it isn't fully accessible. This is the radio control that we use, so you do have to have hand dexterity to fly it. We have tested the program with some autistic and special needs students who did great. I think certainly it has applications as a Paralympic activity right now. We have interest from Walter Reed Hospital and some others to do this with injured veterans, of which I am one, so that's important to us. I do think I saw a video yesterday of adaptations with the Facebook like VR and some of these other things to make them accessible. I think that the controls, that is a need to have UAS controllers that are accessible to different ways. So that's definitely an avenue of development. And if there's any organizations that want to get involved there, like absolutely. I think if we can solve the controller, we did great. So when we did the autistic students, we made it a low sensory experience. We turned all the LEDs off, turned the lights off, and the noise is a little bit of an issue, but we actually are using these 5-bladed propellers for noise reduction in the classroom. So they are much quieter than some of these other similar kind of drones. And so with the potential for hearing protection, this can be a really accessible experience for certain types of abilities. I don't want to say that it's completely accessible yet until we can get a controller that's easier to use.
Great, thank you. I just, again, I still see the potential down the line. So as
I
you
totally agree. Yeah.
I think this would be an awesome way to expand and reach more communities beyond, what you're currently going after. But I can't thank you enough for bringing this to fruition. Because when we talked last summer, I swore, I said, you are onto something, and I can't wait to see it come about. So congratulations and kudos.
I totally agree. Thank you. And we're hoping to make these relationships. So if there are any organizations that can help with some of this development, or have ideas about how we can make it more accessible, we're trying to bring everybody to the table so that we can have that in the roadmap.
Great. You can count Women in Drones in, but you know that already. In fact, I think Wendy's on here. She knows she's going to get that press release out in the next day or two. So we're on board.
Great.
Awesome. So when you're saying, reaching out, helping, what are some of the needs that you have?
So we're working with the Academy of Model Aeronautics. We're trying to identify funding opportunities and philanthropic funding sources so that we can provide grants to Title I schools and girl-led programs. So funding is always going to be the number one problem for most programs to get started. So if anybody has advice about that or knows about grants or funds to help in your region, could be a regional grant or whatever it is. A lot of the work that we end up doing is helping schools get access to those pools of money. So it's something that we weren't really anticipating, but we've helped to raise a lot of money so far. So always looking for that kind of help on the philanthropic side. If there are any executives in here or entrepreneurs, we as an organization are facing challenges growing fast enough to keep up with demand. So we're looking for partnerships and other ways that we can expand, the services that we're providing to new areas. And that includes, hiring new people, which is a definite need to keep up. So again, that comes down to revenue and partnerships and things. But no, really, the number one thing we're looking for is a champion in that city who is going to say, I'm going to take this on, I'm going to go start talking to people, and I will find a place to put it, and I'll find someone to pay for it. And if you're that person, yes, like, let's get you trained, and let's talk about your community and figure out like what is the best path to bring it in.
I love it. Doesn't that just motivate you right there? Gets you all fired up, right?
So Kyle, let's just talk about that. So, all of us are super busy people, right? But we just can't help it. We're addicted to drones. We see the gaps. We hear the conversations that people have with us. They're like, oh, if I did that, like I said, one of my challenges is, I'm training these kids and they can't go out on their own, but bringing them all together. I've thought about that, but yet that's a lot of extra work. So, and I got to keep, like you are, we have to get that foundation going so that it can thrive, right? And then we can branch off into all these other things. So as far as like a business owner, like I feel like I could predominantly like be a starter in my area. I have a couple of people that are on this call that would want to do it with me. What kind of obligation, like as far as like getting something started? I don't even know if you could say that, but is it something that a business owner could help get start up and then release it over to like people that got trained? Is that something that could happen?
Yeah, I'm seeing right now that maybe half of the leaders, maybe 2/3 of the leadership bringing this in are nonprofit related, but the rest are drone business owners. Unlike other robotics and things where there really isn't a good business model, or that's not incentivized, we are building this revenue sharing into our business model. So what we do is, with that organization taking the lead, just for anybody who wants to be a drone soccer instructor and kind of do that, you can keep almost all of the revenue from those professional development training services. We have like a 25% licensing fee to give you all the materials and everything that you use. Market value to train a single teacher in an 8-hour workshop is $1,500. That is market value to train a teacher. And it varies by area, specifically CTE training. If you combine drone soccer with Part 107 training for educators, that's a $2,000 to $2,500 market value. And, we would basically just have a licensing fee for the drone soccer portion of that. So that's a way to earn a lot of revenue for each school that you're working with, to make back whatever investment you need to put in. Now there's a second level, which is that league partner. So this is an organization that's taking on a leadership role and actively recruiting organizations. We offer some profit sharing on the sales. So 10% of our profits, which is right now about 5% of total sale, comes to you automatically as a check. So you can continue to grow your league. So that's, two ways that we are trying to make this sustainable from an outreach perspective. Obviously every business is different. Everyone has a different business model, but when the museums and other groups we've worked with, they all have a path to profitability, in like 3 months to a year, depending on how successful they are.
Right.
$20,000 for the museum, they've easily cleared that investment, in their first year. It just depends on how much they put into it.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, it doesn't make sense for everybody, but.
Right. Well, it's really important to know the numbers, everybody can jump on and say, I want to do this, but yet, at the end of the day, we're all drone pilots, all of us are pioneers. We all are just, getting into our businesses. Plus we're just coming off of 2 years of the ups and downs of COVID. So, maybe you had a profitable year and then the next year you didn't. That was my circumstances. So, it's that, like this right now, right? So, and last but not least, is it seasonal, or is it something that, you guys plan on doing all year round?
Yeah, there's seasonal purchasing rhythms for school districts. So most of them have a big purchasing season in the spring for the following school year. Those funds show up in summer. So basically they obligate the funds in the spring, summer they get the money. So everything's delivered for the fall. Same thing in the fall, there's, another buying season, but that's why we do see a spring, fall, and summer season that lines up with purchasing. So, and that's, our season durations and everything. To make it super simple, our average order for a school is $12,000. If you were that local provider that, brought that school in and is training them, sorry, hang on. If you're bringing them in and training them, of that $12,000, you will make about $1,500 to $2,000 of it. And again, sales fluctuate a little bit here and there, but that's what you can expect to make per school. You can imagine if you bring in an arena and sign up your first 4 schools, like that's a big chunk of that investment without even getting into summer camps, which are how most museums and nonprofits make their money. So
Right, yeah. And then do you like if I went in, so listen, everybody that's on this call, 2 key things that you said, spring and fall, what's coming up. If you're really serious about this, which I mean, this could be a really, this could be a really great opportunity, because we are excited. We see that, it's a great way for kids to get rolling, and also a way to establish yourself as a leader in the community of drones. That strike while the iron's hot, because spring's coming up, and that's going to get you into like summer, fall. So really think about that and be thinking, write it down and start going for it now, And do you provide the materials or like some kind of package that we can go in and show to schools?
yes. So once you're interested, we just sign like a quick agreement to say like, yeah, I want to do this in this city. We provide the marketing materials, some training so that you understand the program and what we're doing. But yeah, right now we have a limited sale on our website because so many people were asking for just demo kits. Our business model is mostly selling to organizations with purchase orders and everything. So we created the web store so that people who want to try it out or show it off in the community can do that. If you can order before the end of February, those will all be fulfilled first thing in March, because we've basically given out everything that we have in stock. So once you get those in March, that is prime time for school districts to make their decisions. It's also prime time for parents to start signing their kids up for summer camps. So if you have any interest in doing summer camps or a fall academic program, you should really have, your hands on one to go show people in person. That's all we did. We did a March exhibition at the museum. And then a couple months later, we did a student tournament, and those 2 demos got 12 schools enrolled, just like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it sells itself, which is the good thing,
Absolutely.
We just need drone people to support it.
Yep. Great, thank you so much. I like getting out that business stuff so people understand, because you can't do it on your own. It does take support. And people, need to know that, when is the best time. So you're not, wasting time, and you want it to be successful. So definitely come on, folks. Let's go.
Yeah, so still quite a few questions that have popped up into our chat. I think Kim just kind of addressed the one asking about, do you come and do demos? I did post again the website that they have on there where you can order direct before February. And so I put that in there also. Kyle, if somebody wanted to reach out to you direct, can you put your information in there, or a way that somebody could reach somebody at your team regarding questions? Or
yeah, I'm putting it in the chat. So that's my personal email. If your organization's like interested in getting started, I highly recommend you go to dronesoccer.us/enroll. That way we have all the information we need to reach back out and, get the information to you, but also if to have enough information about your organization for agreements and quotes and things. So dronesoccer.us/enroll, that all comes to me and my team, and we're working through, as quick as we can. And, big challenge for us is, knowing the demands. So that's why we're doing this February pre-sale, so that we can make sure that everybody gets what they need in March. With 70 organizations all trying to order, that's a lot. And so we're trying to map out when programs are getting on their feet so that we can plan out fulfillment.
Awesome. Awesome. I know mine's on its way. I'm excited. So probably have time for only one last question. What is the middle school age, or what age requirement do you recommend?
Yeah, so we highly, sorry, my puppy's, we have a brand new puppy who's not happy about being in his kennel.
Aw.
So we have ages 12 and up, or grades 6 through 12 plus. That's about the age that they have the dexterity to fly this kind of high performance drone. You know, we did try with some 11 and 10-year-olds, and that's when they start having some frustration levels, because this is a learning curve. It's all hand flown. So they have to be able to, you know, really kind of focus and learn those fundamental flight skills. Oftentimes with a DJI, you just push a button on an app. You know, this is hand flying. And also the building and repairing takes a little bit of finger strength sometimes. So 12 and up is what we absolutely recommend. Well, we are also seeing a lot of post-secondary interest. So universities and community colleges who are training the undergrads in the program, and those undergrads turn around and run the high school engagement. So we do see applications all the way up through college, where at the collegiate level, we mentioned there's a bigger size, where they're building or custom fabricating and designing those bigger drones to compete with. So that's kind of the path. This is a good middle and high school entry program, but there are design applications all the way up into the collegiate level.
To ask it, so are you saying they don't have altitude hold?
No, they don't have altitude hold. They don't have anything.
Oh, okay.
You're hand flying everything. It's a sport. The one feature they have is angle mode. So they will attempt to level. That really helps. And they do have kind of a crash recovery. So if you get hit, knocked upside down, it'll recover itself right side up. But as far as all of your control, that's all up to you and how good of a pilot you are.
Good thing I've been practicing FPV on my drone simulator. That's all I got to say.
Right.
This has been fantastic, fantastic. And we just can't thank you enough. So let's just wrap it up with one last piece of advice that you may have that you would like to share with everyone here, Kyle.
You know, this is an approach that we've taken from the beginning, is to collaborate. You know, in this drone community, I feel like it is oftentimes very fractured, and you have a bunch of solopreneurs kind of doing their own thing. I highly recommend groups like this. You know, find that community, find those people in your community that are willing to come together and help you out, build relationships, and pull a team together. And if you can pull a team together of drone people, educators, you know, whoever it is in that community, they will support you. And the support that we've gotten over the last year has been tremendous and unexpected. You know, I have college kids like handing me resumes, like, I just want to be a referee. Like, let me, you know, and it's great.
Ooh, a referee, that sounds fun.
So
that sounds so fun.
So take a collaborative approach. If you don't have all the pieces you need, somebody does. And that's what we're finding is in a community, the museum is like, hey, we have the space. We would love to have it here. We don't have any staff that can run it. Oh, well, we have the staff. Oh, great. Well, let's go ask for funding together. And you go together and get the funding. So try to build those relationships and just open your eyes a little bit to opportunities. Libraries are happy to put it in. You know, people that you may not expect have STEM programs. Up in central New York, they got the Rotary Club to fund it. So, you know, just the support is out there if you ask.
Right. Key point, ask.
Ask, yes.
Right? If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Awesome. Well, we can't thank you enough, Kyle. Thank you for your time. Amazing. I was super excited. Yeah.
That's great.
So don't forget to save the chat. It's the lower 3 dots on the right-hand side. There's a lot of really good information in there. Kyle's got his information in there if you had any more questions. You've got the links so you can go check out the website, and we can't wait to see all the things that you're doing. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And, you know, I think it's just super important. Let's get get women in all communities into drones, and let's try to, balance this employment equation a little bit.
Sounds great. I love it. I love it.
All right, thank you. We'll see you next week, everybody. That kind of wraps it up.